Hey there guys, it's Kage TQT coming at you. Today's video we're going to be going over Arena Weightless Week and some of my picks for what you should probably use and some of the counters you're going to maybe want to bring with you to help with some of this stuff. Because if you did watch last night, I got steamrolled by like a level 90 something Estark, and he's going to be part of that lineup. So as you can see, I managed to still break top 50. But let's get into it. So let's take a look at some of my ideas for ideal teams, what you could bring. Now, this guy is going to be one of the biggest players here. He's got even at two tier ranks awakenings, 1100 HP. This guy is no joke. This guy hurts. If you do not take this guy down quickly, it'll be bad. This is probably something you do not want to fight. If you can avoid it, you might not have. This week could be very out of control. So this would be one guy where, if you can avoid him, do so. But he is weak to Sizz, and he is weak to Bang. So Deb, Halberd Source are two major ones. Baramos, if you have them. I mean, Baramos would be the, there's just not a lot of good choices here. I mean, there's some decent A choices. If this was like a wait week, I would say maybe Slan for Bang, because he can move up quickly and hit and do some good damage. But, this is everybody bringing their best for this week, and I just don't see a lot of choices when we look at it as a whole. So let's take a look and see what we have as a whole for Bang damage for this week. And we already know Baramos is going to be up there. You've got Juliante, you've got Sorrow. Sorrow's probably going to be your best bet if you have to fight him, but just, yeah, it's not a good thing. So he's going to be one. He's probably going to be paired with an Estark. So if he is paired with an Estark, you're not going to be able to whittle him down with any spells, do any real damage to him, except for, again, Baramos. Baramos has that condensed kaboom, where he's able to hit just a single target, but that's going to be a pretty big contender. Next, you're going to have, most likely this guy is going to be paired together with folks as well. And for him, he's weak to Frizz, he's weak to Crack. It's going to be very interesting to see the lineups here, because these are going to be some of your biggest contenders, especially with a combo. Now, in Japan, major combo for these two guys was you'd have you'd have Sorrow and Estark kind of, move hand in hand up the court. You just leave Sorrow next to, good old Estark, and couldn't really hit him with spells. I mean, you can get close, or he'd pull somebody in. It's a really deadly combo. I mean, there's a couple of units that can pepper them down, but it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. So those are going to be some of your bigger worries for this. I mean, what I'm thinking of doing here is, let's take a look. Let's see if we can build a team from scratch. Let's use slot 9. Okay, so let's see, what would I do for this week? I definitely want to bring him. He's coming. Definitely going to bring my casters, my main ones. Now the trick is, Halberd Source, we could leave him there. Do I want to bring WK? Or do I want to bring Sorrow to this dance? Physical potency would be up. We'd have two casters to cover some serious damage, and both casters have their own respective durabilities. I mean, let's take a look at the stats themselves. Let's confirm this group. So let's take a look. We haven't even. Let's give him back. Let's give him the flail. Let's give him the flail. Not too worried about his. Well, what would his agility be? Let's look. His agility would be 249. It's pretty bad. If we can get him over Estark and have him move in and bring something in quicker. Let's do that then. Let's give him the nails, so that gives him to 2. And then let's also give him the robe. And that gives him 352 agility. So he's pretty good there. Now, taking a look at everything here, I mean, you've got a well-rounded out team. Realistically, the only one who's got low HP is Zoma. Zoma's got low HP. But, I mean, I just don't see him getting into too much trouble. He's got some of the highest agility, period. Baramos is going to go late, which is great. I mean, you definitely want him going later in the rotation, coming up and smacking the fuck out of something. Because if he can, I don't think he's going to be able to one-shot very many Estarks. I don't. I mean, he can do some real damage. He can put the guy in a critical condition and trigger his ability, but I don't see him being able to one-shot them. I mean, he's got a lot of wisdom. Zoma's got a lot of wisdom. But just, as you can see here, I don't even have liquid metal armor yet for Estark. And he's got 14 HP with this setup. So, yeah. I mean, this would be one formation that I would use. There's a couple other complementary ones. I mean, Halberd Source is a really good unit. I'd also recommend, if you do have, trying to get some sort of breath weapon for him. This one's just kind of wonky. I just use it for kind of shits and giggles, but see if we have a better Sizz weapon for him. No, it says physical potency. I don't think there's anything else that's really solid. Well, let's beef up his tankiness, because we want to make sure everybody survives here. So let's look at that and see how everything stacks up. Oh, and also we can give him the dragon armor too. Let's see here. Okay. So well, rounding out this team for Arena. I'm trying to think if there'd be anybody else I'd want to bring with my roster that'd be good to have, but I really don't. I mean, you know, if you have a maxed out Dragoir, he's good with his movement, his abilities. He'd be a good unit to bring. I mean, if I had another Awakening on Sorrow or Estark, that'd be great too, but, you know, it is what it is. Now, the other thing here is, if you can switch up your lineup for this week, I normally don't, I'm lazy, I would try and adapt around units as best as possible, because this is going to be one of those weeks where everybody's going to bring their A game, their S game, and you're not going to have as much leeway for some folks as you would normal. Now, first day, a bunch of bots, you know, go crazy, but I mean, really be careful with how you structure your team, because you do not want to bring a bunch of, you know, 2-move units to a caster fight. You know, you don't want to bring a bunch of 2 melee move units, even if they're your absolute best. I mean, hey, Squidzilla looks great. He'd probably be a good candidate for Estark. It's just the motherfucker would never reach him. You know, by the time it'd be over. He'd get one hit in. Not a good way to score points. I mean, True Lord Dragonform would be another good unit this week. I do like him. I mean, he wouldn't be bad to get in there and pepper out and do some damage. It's just, I don't know how effective the pepper strategy is going to be here, for just like sprinkling some damage here and there, because again, you're going to be looking at some heavy fights here. This is going to be a very rough week. This is not going to be easy. We're looking at the absolute best of the best, where most of these guys have the same amount of health, same amount of stats. This is, you know, so yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of those weeks where, you know, if you have to interchange units, if you have to do things to win, you know, do what you have to do. I mean, plus up any skills you got, because again, don't sleep on extra damage. You know, a plus 3 as opposed to a plus 0 can make or break 4 points or 8 points for you in a match easily. So, yeah. I don't know what the layout of this map is going to be, though. I don't have any advanced foresight into this map, what it is going to actually be in terms of the positions. I mean, if it's a standard 2 out, 3 in sort of deal, just kind of think, hey, what would my opponent put up front? If they were going to, do this fight, what would they leave on the sides? Like if they have a Zoma and they have, like a WK, chances are, unless they're not really trying to score points or they're new, those are going to be some of their outliers, and their inner monsters are going to be like Halberd Swords. They're going to be like True Lord Dragonform. They're going to be stuff that they just, move up the field as best they can. So, that is something to consider. The only other things I would say are, I mean, with the weeks in Arena coming, closer and closer to us getting a refresh with the shop, to, consider what you're looking to get next for a purchase. Like, I'm going to get the armor literally one fight in. We'll grab that, but the other armors may be something you shouldn't sleep on because of the reroll stones that we got. I have some tucked away for them, but maybe getting these and seeing what they add, but I don't know. I would get the armor personally after you max Halberd Source, and I would just kind of wait this out because there will be a new unit, and we'll see what happens there. But for right now, I mean, if you can awaken up one of your better units, if you're stocking up crystals, you have an Estark, use him on him. He's an absolute beast of a unit. I mean, the dude is ridiculous. The dude just does damage. Let's just get into a field test. Let's take them out for, let's do Talon Tower. Let's do this fight with that team set up. See how they do. Just let them auto. Take a look at things. See how it goes. But ultimately, Sorrow, Estark are going to be your biggest pains in the ass. I mean, you'll have some odd teams. Maybe bring a tank or something, but I don't know why you would do that to a full S fight. But if you have some really good A units, the only ones I'd say would probably the Bodkin, the Bodkin Archer, the A rank. He does a lot of damage. He'd probably be something if you really don't have an S unit that you can say, hey, I want to bring to this fight. He'd be something that I'd consider. He's good. Baril is just too risky this week. Way too risky. And maybe Slann. Maybe Slann as well if he's maxed out. Because, again, he does do bang damage. He would help with Estark. This guy just... so much damage. It's ridiculous. This Estark is no joke. Just keep whittling away at him and he just gets stronger. Oof, it's crit. It's a good setup. But yeah, that'd be my advice for this week. I mean, if you don't have a full-fledged team of S rank units, but you can easily get Slann. Slann is free. If you haven't maxed him out, I would have by now. Because Slann would be a counter for Estark. He does have a multi-hit bang ability. Now let's take a look at that real quick too. Let's take a look and see what that entails. So for Slann, he's probably your best bet if you don't have, a Baramos. And you do have to go against this guy for whatever reason. I haven't leveled up his Blast Fist at all. I'm lazy in that regard, but you put a flail on this guy or you put an Executioner's Axe on him, you upgrade his bang, he can do some solid damage. You should be able to get some real damage into this guy, but he's your best bet because again he's got the early turn move where he's able to get in there, right? Yeah, he's got the Reckless Rush where he can just rush in 4 move off the bat. And his agility is like lower too. I mean, you could up it, but you want him to go kind of later so you can catch Estark by surprise if you had to. Other than that, I mean, realistically, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. I'm really curious to see what the layout's going to be for the arena, and I'm looking forward to using some heavy-ended units for this week, and maybe I'll tweak the team a little bit here and there. We'll see, but for right now, I think that's the lineup I would go with. I mean, to kind of complement Estark as best as possible. Let him get in there, get his hits in. I mean, because the more he gets hit, the better. I do have to get him up. Oh, let's get him leveled real quick. I forgot about that. Oh, there we go. I didn't even have him to 110. Okay. Forgot to do that. So he gets a little bit more HP, and he gets to hit even harder now with his Imperial Strike. So another 2% to the Imperial Strike. And now he's got a little bit more HP, a little bit more everything. So, ridiculous. Anyway, folks, thank you for joining. I'll see you for Arena. Maybe I'll stream some tonight. We'll see how the first matches go. But then, again, they're just bots, so I don't know if that's really entertaining for you guys or not. But, well, get out there and fuck some shit up. Take it easy.